The weave that I'm going to share with you today is actually taken from the hand woven 2009 May and June issue. It is called Huck Lace, and in their issue, it actually goes through how to set up your loom. I'm not going to set up the loom just because it's already set up. So let me find the page to show you of where the design is coming from. It's called Light and Lacy, and it's designed by Madeline Vanderholt, and it includes the draft, but I'm not going to go into detail. These are two examples of hand-dyed Huck lace using that pattern. This is the other example, and I'm going to now go show you the loom. This is my baby wolf loom. It's a 4-shaft. Absolutely love it. I can take it with me when I want to go on seminars, but I can also move it around the house quite easily. Right now what I have on it is a dummy warp, which is basically cotton warp, so that when I use the yarn that is hand dyed, that it will go into the warp like I want to. So the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to be tying on to the dummy warp that's already here, and then I will start to show you how I weave it. Huck lace is designed in a set of 5, so every 5 strands create the designs. So when I'm working with colors, I want to make sure that I am paying attention to the rule of 5s. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my bamboo yarn, the more natural color, and I'm going to start on both edges, and I'm going to tie it in an overhand knot because that will allow me to pull it through the reed, and I won't have to rewarp my loom. So these knots are strong enough to go straight through. Now that I've tied the knots onto the dummy warp, my next step is to pull the new warp by pulling the knots through the reed and also through the heddles, so that I have my new warp that's ready. As I am putting the warp on, notice that I use a cardboard in between the threads so that they don't get tangled up upon each other. It's really important to have something separating them, either cardboard or paper. Now that I have my warp through the reed and the heddles, the next step is for me to tie it onto the bar. And I'm going to start on the outside edges, and I'm going to do it in sets of 5 or sets of 6, because that right now I'm at 12 per inch, so that will be 1 inch each time. And so I'm going to tie it, and the way that I tie it is I take it over the bar, and you can see the bar is too far away, so I have to get the bar a little bit closer. I'm going to take it over the bar, both of these, and then I'm going to tie it. And then a technique that I learned from Deb Jones with Fiber Garden in Menominee, Black River Falls in Wisconsin, is that after she ties it, then she takes it over and creates a loop like this, which makes it much easier to take it off of the loom when you're finished. So then I'm going to do the other side also, to try to keep it as even as possible. So I'm going to just take it over the top. And notice that some of my yarns are longer than others, so I want to get as close to the short ones as possible, and then I tighten it a little bit before I do my loop. And then I want to check to make sure the tension is pretty equal, and then I'm going to turn one click so that as I add more yarn or tie on more yarn, the outside edges maintain the tension that they started with. Alright, my next step is to start weaving. My treadles have already been set up based on the pattern. So, and I have my bobbins ready. So I'm going to take my shuttle and put my bobbin in it. And there's many different types of shuttles, all kinds of great shuttles out there. The first thing I'm going to do is do a little bit of a plain weave so that the yarn, the warp stays a little bit closer to each other, because right now it's separated because of having tied on. So, and I'm also going to check to see what's going on with some pieces of yarn to make sure everything's okay. This one has a slight knot in it, so I'm going to back up the warp a little bit so that I'm not fighting with that knot. So now I'm just going to weave for a little while, following the pattern that was in the hand-woven book. And the weft that I'm using is bamboo also, just like the warp is, but it's a thinner yarn. And I'm going to just do 6 of the plain weave, and then I'm going to start moving on to the pattern. And this is the pattern. I have done it quite a few times, so now I just know it by memory. But sometimes if I don't remember, I will put it on the loom so that I can see the pattern as I'm weaving. And you'll notice that after each throw of the shuttle, I bring the beater down so that the yarn lays down correctly. And I want to check the sides to make sure that everything is going even. When I've gotten to the point where I can't weave anymore, then I am going to pull the warp forward and I will cut the warp off. I'm tying this part just in case I want to continue to use the dummy warp. My last step is to basically pull the woven cloth off of the loom and finish tying it. That's the reason why when I initially tied it on that I designed it this way, so that all I have to do is pull the knot and it undoes itself. After I have grouped them and placed an overhead